As the alarm clock started to ring, sending irritated sound to your ear, you turned it off and sat down before sighing heavily. You were still looking sleep deprived. I wish I could get just one day off. I will sleep the entire day. You have been working till 4 in the morning and only got 3 hours to close your eyes, which were not at all enough when you are exhausted from work all day. Realizing that it's already the time and you can't get late, especially today, you removed the blanket and got up before stretching your arms high towards the ceiling and yawned. Why being an adult is so depressing, saying that you lazily went inside the bathroom. You quickly made yourself a toast because that's all you can make yourself in this time and spread some nut butter. You were eating it while packing your bag for the office. This is how you eat your breakfast every single day, and that's what your life has become. All about work as you work in one of the biggest company of all times. You have money but no time to flex about it. You owned a very costly and big apartment in one of the richest neighborhood, but never get time to invite anyone or spend time. You only come here to sleep and sometimes not at all. You grabbed your bag and car keys before leaving the apartment. Employees got up and bowed when the CEO walked inside the office, as usual with a stone cold face. He was dressed in a black suit with a well-ironed shirt inside. The shirt was buttoned up to the top meticulously. The chiseled face above it was extraordinarily handsome with his sunken eyes, well-arched eyebrows and pointy nose. An aura of prohibitive nobility could be just felt from every part of him. He is the youngest billionaire who is also a bachelor till now and so much popular among female employees, but no one has the guts to even look at him in his eyes. Can't believe he is just 26 and looks better than any man I have seen in this entire world. I can only imagine how lucky that girl would be who has a fortune to marry him. She said, not taking her eyes off of the side he disappeared in. And I just want to know if he'll ever get married or not, because looking at him, I don't think he is interested in any woman. He never had a girlfriend, I'm sure, so maybe his parents gonna get him arranged in some marriage like every rich household. As they were talking, the secretary of John Holdings, walked in. Even in that tired state and rushed to go in the office, you didn't forget to flash a smile to the employees who greeted you and walked in the CEO's office. Her outfits are always bomb. I also want to be rich like her. From the manager to the CEO's secretary, I sometimes envy her luck. Jess looked at her. Don't just look at her glamour and luck. Can't you see how exhausted and sleep deprived she looks all the time? She's getting the money because she works 3 times more than us, every single minute without a break. They both have their different opinions. But everyone knows how hardworking you are, and that's why they look up to you. Good morning, sir. You greeted him while coming inside the office and straight went to your desk before keeping your bag there. At what time Mr. Choi and their team are coming? The meeting is at 11, so we can expect him to arrive here 15 minutes prior to that, and I have contacted their secretary as well. They will sign the contract today itself because they are booked for the rest of the days this week. He nodded. You have brought all the papers and documents, right? You nodded. Yes, everything is ready. Last night it was so late working and Jungkook noticed you were looking a bit exhausted, so he told you to go home and do the rest of the work there. Although he always looks so cold and his sharp eyes can scare the hell out of anyone, but he's a bit soft when it comes to you. And it's because you work with him all the time, so it's like a responsibility of him to make sure you're alright because without you he cannot work at all. It's been 6 months since you have become his secretary, but 2 years working as a manager in the same company, and you like him a lot from the start. Suddenly you flinched when he looked at you as you have realized you have been staring at him like a psycho. And he often caught you staring at him but never say anything. Your face turned red in embarrassment, but to your surprise he again didn't say anything and again focused his eyes on the computer screen. Miss Min, did you forget to tell Minsuk to get me a coffee? You realize you forgot to tell the employee who serves coffee you got up. I'll go and get it. You were about to leave but he stopped you. It's okay, just call him and tell him to bring. You nodded and sat on your chair before dialing a number. Thank you so much for joining us here, Mr. Choi, he said, extending his hand politely for a handshake, which Mr. Choi, who was the biggest industrialist whom Jungkook grew up admiring, shook hands with him. He was a middle-aged man, but Jungkook always idolized him because he wants to achieve the heights Mr. Choi already climbed. They are going to work on a very big project together, and it's a dream collaboration for Jungkook that he just can't wait to happen. My good to finally able to meet you. I have heard a lot about you and your success story. I wish I could have a son like you. They all smiled as Jungkook bowed at him politely. Then everyone sat on their chairs and the meeting began. Jungkook was nervous, but he didn't let those expressions show on his face. It was the time when they'll finally sign the contract papers. Miss Min, please bring contract papers, he said, looking at you. Yes. You nodded and reached for your bag to take out the file only to realize that it wasn't there. A tension formed on your face and you looked carefully but didn't find. Then only you realized that you forgot it on the table of your kitchen. Jungkook again looked at you when you didn't come back with a file. Miss Min? You looked at him and could not help but to gulp. Jungkook knitted his eyebrows and came near you after excusing himself. Miss Min, you know there's a value of every single second, right? Where's the contract papers? His eyes remained indifferent and cold. You looked down. I forgot it at home. What? You can't be serious. His jaw dropped. Jungkook loves his reputation more than anything and hates ignorance in work, and today he is with the person he always admired. Of course, he was furious to know that you did such a stupid mistake at this point of time. I'm terribly sorry. I was in a rush and Jungkook looked over at you and the coldness in his eyes was slight yet obvious. You think it's a game? How can you be so irresponsible and forgetful at this position? You flinched as he raised his voice. The other people were surprised as well, but Jungkook lost his control. I did not expect such a mistake from you. You know how important this deal is. You think everyone is free here? They don't have other things to do? Your eyes glazed up with tears, but you didn't let them escape from your eyes. You were guilty for your mistake, but he shouldn't have to insult you like this. He exhaled and walked towards Mr. Choi. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience, Mr. Choi. The contract papers aren't here. Mr. Choi got up and put his hand on his shoulder. It's okay, young man. Such mistakes happen. You don't have to feel sorry. Let's sign them some other day because this week I'm completely busy. Jungkook nodded. Thank you so much for understanding. Mr. Choi smiled and then he looked at you, noticing how upset you were looking. It happens, Miss Min. Still, no one can deny the fact that you are among the finest secretary I've ever seen in my life. Keep it up. You looked up at the man. He praised you in such situation when you messed up everything. Then the meeting over and everyone left. So did Jungkook as he looked so disappointed in you. The work got delayed and on top he felt so ashamed in front of those people as well. You gathered everything while a drop of tear fell on a paper that you quickly wiped. You never make mistakes when it comes to work, but today you just lost when it was such an important day. Constant work pressure and lack of rest resulted in such a big mistake today. You came in the office where Jungkook was talking to someone over the phone. It didn't happen today. Let's talk after I come back. He ended the call and looked towards you. He watched you for some time while you silently started to do your work, which you usually never do, and also you were looking down. He sighed and felt a little bad for shouting at you. Ryan, look, I wasn't trying to be rude, but I never expected that from you. You knew how important it was. You didn't say anything. This was the first time we got a chance to work with him. Now the work is delayed and also my first impression turned this way in front of him. You already said sorry to him a few times. It hurts you not because he shouted at you for your mistake, but he didn't even care that there were so many people present in that room. You always gave your best, and today when a mistake happened, he didn't control his anger and burst on you in front of everyone. You didn't want to cry, but a tear dropped from your eyes, which you quickly wiped and turned your chair to the other side so that Jungkook won't see you crying, but he noticed. He is cold, but as said, he feels bad when someone very close to him or he gives importance to get hurt. He was angry at that moment, but now he also realized that he shouldn't have shouted at you. He got up and came near your desk while you quickly wiped your tears and made a normal face. I'm sorry for shouting at you. You don't have to cry. I'm not crying, and I'll apologize to Mr. Choi as well for my mistake. I'll send them an email. You turned on your computer and started to type an email when he grabbed your hand, which he never did. You looked at him. You don't need to apologize to anyone. You looked down at your hands, and after realizing, he slowly released your hand and stood straight. Whatever happened just happened. Now forget about it. He looked down and he also walked to his desk. Usually Jungkook never do this, but today he was the one that was looking at you the whole time. You didn't talk to him, neither smiled like you always do. It felt so empty to him. Your voice in his ear always keep him chill from the inside, and that's the one thing he likes the most about you. You are his first female secretary and he was never attracted to any woman, but he likes when you are around him. He picked the paper and noticed that the ink of a few letters were messed. It was the place your tear dropped. He again looked in your direction. He was still working but not looking at him. Ryan, I'm hungry. Can you book 2 tables at the nearest restaurant? You took out your phone but then realized he said 2. You looked at him. What happened? You didn't say anything and made a reservation for 2 people. You can stop the work. I'm really hungry. Let's go. He said getting up but looked at you when you didn't move. What? You're coming with me. Get up. You turn off the computer and you are not his girlfriend who can throw tantrums or show disagreement to let him know that you are mad at him. You have to follow his orders, so you get up and leave behind him. He let out an unnoticed smile that only he can feel. He knew you are not talking, so instead of forcing you, he decided to be nice, and later he planned to apologize again. There's not many people at this time. It's good, he said, looking around and then at you, who quickly looked down when he shifted his eyes on you. You were just trying to figure out why he suddenly started behaving so nicely. Let's just order quickly. I'm hungry. You can. I'm not hungry. He raised his eyebrow when you lowered your eyes. It's 4 p.m. Did you have lunch before so you are not hungry? You didn't say anything. He sighed. Are you not talking because of earlier? You looked at him. Look, I know you didn't do that on purpose, but I told you to check everything. It would have never happened if you did, and you know how much we have waited for this contract, and it got postponed because of that one mistake. You could have shouted at me after the meeting or just did that a bit quietly. You insulted me in front of so many people to make it look as if I'm always like this. You finally decided to complain. I work all day and night, giving my best. I don't even get time to sleep well, yet I never complain. You know how hard and rushed my life has become? I have time for no one. Everyone in my family are mad at me because I'm completely ignoring everything for work. Still, I'm always ready to give my best. Because it's my job. I'm a human too, so isn't it obvious that I can also make mistakes? For the first time, you have seen how his cold eyes soften. I'm sorry. I'm not telling all this to make you apologize. I just want to let you know that what I'm going through. There was silence for some time, but you were feeling a bit light after letting out your inner feelings. A waiter came near your table, breaking the awkwardness. Sir, your order, please. Jungkook looked at you. Will you choose? Just order whatever, I'll eat. A slight smile appeared on his face. He gave the menu to the waiter. At times, you unknowingly act like a girlfriend, but you always fulfill your demands. You only wish that your love doesn't stay one sided, but you are not noticing that your wish is getting fulfilled day by day. Jungkook cares for you because he also has a thing for you. He never noticed it, but he does things that make people think that you guys are in a relationship sometimes. After you had lunch, he insisted on dropping you off at your apartment. You had no problem with that, so now your mood was good after having a good lunch and letting out your feelings. You can just drop me off here, I'm almost there. You said stopping while he looked at you. He didn't realize when the time flew so quickly. He was so happy talking to you casually like this while walking towards your apartment. It's so late. Should I take you home? No, there's no need. I'll go. You should also go and take some rest. He sighed and nodded. All right, as you say. Be careful. He smiled and nodded. You knew he didn't want to go. You also drive safely. He smiled and nodded. Wow, you know you look more handsome when you smile. His cheeks turned slightly red as he quickly stopped smiling, making you laugh a little. And cute also. He felt a little shy. I'm not. Now go, I'll leave when I'll see you entering inside the building. And also, no need to come early tomorrow. Rest well, and if you want a day off, you can take. I'll take care of everything for one day. You looked at him surprised. Really? Is that real? He nodded. Yes. You smiled. Wow, I can't believe this, but thank you so much. He felt a tickle in his heart to see you happy again. And I'm sorry once again. You shook your head. It's okay, don't apologize. I was never so happy than today. Now I'll go. He nodded while you waved at him and walked away while he watched you leaving. He smiled and slid both of his hands in his pockets. And me too. I'm also happy, and now I know why this happens only when you are around me. Once you disappeared, he walked towards his car smiling on his own.